All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back in Big Shed. We have this guy to tackle, right? And I've got enough work now. I really want to work nights. I hate working during the day. Same thing with driving truck. When I was running this thing, I really liked running at night. So we have a 2001, I'm pretty sure, don't correct me if I'm wrong, 2001 Ram 2500 with a Cummins diesel, and unfortunately the motor over here has gone kaput. It was run at extremely hot coolant temperatures for an extended long period of time. Obvious reasons, radiator was clogged, driver didn't stop. So we are taking this motor right here out of that blue parts truck that we did, that dually that we took to the scrapyard. We are taking that and we are re-gasketing everything. I have all the new gaskets. We have the front pump to the what do you call it, the front main. We got one of them with a wear sleeve, and we got this special tool over here that helps to install the wear sleeve. So I've had that for a long while because I've done enough of them that it just makes it worth it to have it. So I'm probably gonna go engine crane that thing and put it over here in the light, because I have still, with being super busy and going over the road and doing that whole 11,000 mile round trip, I have not had time to do shit with getting lighting. So definitely need to get lighting soon. Now that I'm back in the shop full time, we are keeping the insurance for the trailer runs. And for obvious reasons, I'm not labeling any of these videos as hotshot because I don't want to attract DOT. I try to just stay under the radar as much as I can, run as legal as possible, and keep most of that stuff under the radar because I really just, I don't like getting inspected. I haven't failed inspections in years, and then I got one failed inspection because of an oil leak back in New Jersey, and I was like, you know what, fuck them. I run as legal as possible, my paperwork's always legit, and everything is 100% legal. So this truck, just to give you guys an update, we are taking to Indiana this coming weekend. It is Sunday night now going into Monday, and I just want to work nights. But this truck, we're gonna run a load out to Indiana, and then I got another truck to bring back to do a bunch of stuff to that. So we're slowly cleaning out stuff in the shop. I'm trying to get this entire corner cleaned out, get that compressor working, get the lift in is gonna be one of the big goals. We're gonna figure out, once I get my guys in here, to figure out how deep this floor is. And someone was supposed to come for this bed, and unfortunately with Marketplace, you always get bullshit and liars on there. So once this bed's gone, I wanna make a steel rack going across this wall so we can put all our steel. And I'm keeping those tires right there for spare, and that seat needs to go as well because we are gonna keep the air seat. Now I have a bunch of goodies coming for this. We got the fifth wheel, or the rails I should say, on order. The light bar is gonna come off, and then we are also, I got LEDs coming so that we can put them under the hood. So when the hood is open, the hood the whole engine bay gets lit up with LEDs. That's gonna be pretty sweet. Eventually we're gonna do some airbags on that. I know I said I never wanted to go back to airbags, but the 7500s, I have not heard of them. I thought the 5000s was the biggest. They make a 7500 kit. So we're gonna try them. I'm gonna see if I can work with airlift on that one to see. But let's get this ramp short. That's a lot of my updates. We are gonna start tearing this apart. My goal tonight is to basically get, I think, that motor right there, the one with the downpipe. I'm gonna get that whole thing re-gasketed and cleaned off. He did just spray it with some of that engine degreaser, which he probably shouldn't have done that because I wasn't gonna clean it off right away. So that's gonna be fun, but we are slowly working out of the skid back here, Bertha. Last part of this rant, but I'm getting mixed reviews on this. I'm having some people tell me that I have too many tools that I carry around, and I have some people tell me that I have barely enough tools to do a job. And I don't know, can you guys like make up your mind and like come up with a definite answer? Because I got half saying this, half saying that, and it's like, I see the service truck guys carrying 20 times the tools that I do, but at the same time, I'm able to pull motors and transmissions on anywhere in the country. So I don't know, somebody make up that one. But let's move this over and start working on it. All right, so the goal of this motor is to basically make it not leak. So we're not using this compressor. Everything's kind of ass on this one. But you can see the front main is leaking. Definitely the oil pan is leaking. And we're definitely spitting some out of this guy here. So unfortunately, you can't really do anything about this breather here leaking and spitting unless you want to throw a catch can there. Not a big deal, but I had him order a new one with the wear sleeve, so it makes it a lot easier. That shot. I didn't say anything about the coolant leak back behind here. which basically this entire bracket the whole way up to the alternator comes off. We're not touching any of that. I don't think we're touching the water pump. Mind you, all of this stuff here that you're seeing, that was him spraying the degreaser on it, so that's what all that stuff is. Oh, that sucked. That was tranny fluid. We are going to be pulling these lines off, reusing the ones from over there, pulling this ground off and some of the other odds and ends, but I want to get everything torn down. Valve covers coming off, the whole intake plenum's coming off, every single one of the injection lines are coming off, the turbo's coming off, and just pretty much everything's coming off. New oil filter, everything. It's all coming off and getting regasketed. Anything oil related is getting regasketed. The coolant stuff, we're not touching any of the coolant stuff. The thing didn't leak coolant before. Probably should have recommended it. We're going to take the dipstick from the old motor as well, intake horn, all that stuff. I'll show you what's underneath all of there. But for the most part, everything that we need is going to be from that motor coming over to here. And slowly getting everything. We are going to reuse the motor mounts from that one to over here because they were in better shape. These were kind of rotted and broken and just whole 9 yards, basically shit. Going to pull the flex plate off, redo the rear main. We have all that stuff, starter, all that stuff, like I said, coming from over there to over here. And also that transmission was just built and beefed up. So the flex plate on that one's probably been upgraded. I haven't looked at it yet. I don't know from previous videos, but we're going to check that out. And if it's not, I'll recommend it. Worst case scenario, we just send whatever's on there. Let's see. Let's take a look. Looks like a factory unit, but oh well. Let's start tearing the rest of this stuff. I got the music blaring, jamming everything. Things like belts and stuff like that, not really gonna do. I got the whole fan assembly off right there, basically that back bolt. I just leave the fans on. I tried pulling it, they're a pain in the ass. Not worth pulling off, in my opinion. Probably going to use the one from over there. Chances are very likely. You can see how much cleaner a lot of this stuff is. So we'll probably use the crank and a lot of this other stuff. Basically, this motor just looked a lot cleaner because this one had battery acid all over it. So let's get back to work. I got the front case off, as you guys saw in the time lapse. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get the valve cover off. I'm gonna start pulling everything up top, and we're gonna pull the cam out. This entire case is coming out, all right? So, we are gonna reuse this water pump, or this oil pump. We're not gonna use that one because that one has a lot of material in it that we don't want to have in it. So, with that being said, this whole case is coming off. We're going to reseal the entire case. We do have the gasket to do that. So, you see, this has a little line here, and then the gasket just follows its way around. No, it's not just RTV. Whether it's leaking or not right now, I'd rather just do it. I think there is a coolant leak right about there. So, we will address that. But in the meantime, we're going to use some of the good parts, like I was saying, off that. Might pull this, might pull the alternator, reuse the other one. The other one's back there. Freeze plug's still pretty good. Hoping that's not a leaky head gasket. I'm assuming it's not because it's higher than this point, but never know. We will start messing with it. So I'm going to get the time lapse back on. So we have the injection lines off and all that stuff. You guys see all that stuff in there? I don't care if it falls in there because I'm literally about to go vacuum everything else out. We got to pull all the rockers, and then we got to throw all those dowels in there, which we are going to do a valve adjustment. But I got to throw these dowels in there and zip tie them together so that the tappets don't fall down into the block, because if they fall down in the block, we're going to have fun. Now, if one falls into the block, it's literally not going to hurt anything. It just sucks because now you have to put a new tappet in each one of them, or whichever one falls, and it really sucks. We're dropping the oil pan anyway, so even if I do drop one, I'm doing the top end first before I come down to the bottom end and drain all the oil. I do want to get this turbo off eventually, sooner than later, preferably. So, I mean, it's just really an 18 mil. And then right here, just a drain. This is probably one of the only things we're keeping. Like I said, we're going to switch the wire harness off and start pulling like things like this that don't matter, if I could even get my damn hand in there. But I noticed the time lapses really go on for quite a while. Like, I just filmed that last one and you wouldn't realize that, like, that's 15 minutes just gone like that. But we're gonna reuse that harness because that's the harness for the truck. I don't know if there's any differences between the two. It just makes more sense to use the wire harness that wasn't on fire. This harness was burnt alive anyway, so that harness should be in a lot better condition. You guys see how nice and black that is. Some things I'm gonna have to get a hold of him to replace. Probably we got to figure out which injection lines are the best and whatnot. I know a lot of the stuff from the front we're gonna reuse, but I want to make sure that we're using the best stuff and making sure any of the coolant leaks, like, see, this doesn't leak, so we might swap some of those things over as well. This turbo, why is that? Actually, you know what? That turbo might actually be bad. Listen to that. Hear that? That bearing sounds super dry. I'm curious. We might end up having to use this one. Yeah. That one actually sounds like it's in better shape. I literally do not know how much of that I filmed, but in case I didn't film it, the camera stopped recording for some reason. You guys hear that? I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I'm gonna start over here. The camera stopped recording for some reason and I did not notice it, but this turbo, we're gonna end up having to use this turbo, but I still gotta pull this turbo because I have to pull that bolt out and this manifold's warped. So one way or the other, I think we gotta use that manifold and then this turbo. So I was gonna pull this down pipe, but no point in doing that now because this whole section is gonna get used. It's just the manifold. We're gonna use that manifold. I have the gasket for between and I have the oil drain gasket, so we'll just pull all this and swap everything out. All right, guys, if you ever have a problem getting all this stuff off, a grinder disc makes this a lot easy, super easy work. I'm just kidding. If any of you guys think that I use that, you're dumb as hell. Don't do that. I know I have a huge impression on a lot of people, so definitely don't do that. Scotch-Brite and some brake clean. You'll get it all off. It does take some time. All right, so generally this is a nerve-wracking thing, especially in the truck, but they're all up and they're all zip tied. So now pretty much what we have to do is pull the camshaft. And I will tell you that camshaft is not going to come out if you have a mechanical fuel pump on the side of the block. You 12-valve guys know exactly what I'm talking about. But this does not have one. This is a 24-valve. So we're going to start pulling that camshaft. So I've done a bunch of P-pumped ones and I've done a bunch of CP3s, but never have I done a VP44. I don't ever get to work on these things. So there's this bracket behind. I got the vacuum pump off. That's why that front case wasn't coming off, because with the VP44, it's still bolted to the back of the motor, right with that, with those two holes. So we are doing the tappet, which we're getting rid of this. I got to pull yet another PCM. I don't know what the deal with that is. And I'm just going to get this line off right here, which I guess it's bigger than a 15. Yeah, it is. So, yeah. First VP444 motor I've ever gotten to do. I mean, they're all pretty much the same, minus the front case is slightly different on these things, but I stopped with the time lapse because I'm like, I gotta figure this out. So 2 bolts, 2 bolts, 2 bolts, just a bunch of bullshit. I pulled the vacuum pump just to make it easier because I do want to reseal that, and I'd like to put a new gasket on the back. I'm gonna see if it came with one, and I'm gonna ask him about that as well, and that's not super dire. So while we're in here, I'm gonna pull the tappet, all that stuff, get that out of the way, put the new gasket on, and then we can start throwing the front case on. So I think we're making pretty good progress for what it is. We have everything all laid out. And once everything's slapped together back on, we can do the valve adjustment. So once I get the tappet off, we're gonna start fucking with this turbo, because I can definitely see that there is some potential for leakage. This one's already leaking. All right, I am. Got the tappet apart. You can see that one right there. Kind of fucked up a little bit, but she'll be all right. Fucked up on that one too. You're never gonna know you fucked up. Like, if it picks up, cool. If it doesn't, whatever. But it will split some of them. But basically, I need to get the tappet back on, which I do recommend a billet one, but it was not in the budget on this one. Check everything under there. And everything's good. Initially, if you can see in there, that fell in the pan. And if it ever does that and you pull the cam out, 2 things. 1, you can use a magnet to pull it out like I did. And 2, the cam does not pull out. Push it back in all the way and put it at TDC, because the cam can actually hit the crank when it's coming out. So I'm gonna get this whole thing cleaned up. We're gonna forget about the turbo for now. I am going to pull it off, but I'd like to get the tappet and start throwing parts at this thing and kind of get this mess cleaned up, because we got fuel, we got oil, stuff like that, and I don't like it. I got the front case back on, new gasket. You can see it does line up. That's how it's supposed to be. Those are the bolt holes. I got all the bolts kind of lined up. It is such a pain in the ass, but it is perfect where it's supposed to be. Never had one leak. I did mine about a year ago, and that one doesn't leak either. So now we're gonna throw the cam back in. You see a little bit of stuffy stuff on there, but nothing I can really do about that. This is a just re-gasket job. So we're gonna throw the cam back in, throw the front case seal back on, and then we're gonna start with throwing the side back on and getting the wire harness from over there. All right, boys, this is where we're gonna end it for tonight. It's about 4:30 in the morning. We go home, make some tacos, go to bed for a little bit. We got the turbo off. Good thing that we did do that, because even if we wouldn't have, it was gonna blow soon. It's broken in half, but this turbo's good. That manifold, I'm gonna buy that one off of him, and I'm gonna go get it planed and flattened and all that shit, and we're gonna use the good manifold on this one. Initially, the plan was to take the whole turbo, but whatever. So, we fucked up. I got the seal on the front. I went and RTV'd the whole front case, and you can see we got the nice new seal on, and we fucked up the, it tore on the way in. So, I don't know. Those things are like 12 bucks. So you guys let me know if it's a cheap one or what. I know it came off of Amazon. That's where that specifically came off of, but it comes with the nice seal and whatnot. So all the injector lines, I'm gonna wait to put the injector lines and all the stuff. I got everything vacuumed out all the wood chips. Once the intake and all that is on, we're gonna wait to put the valve cover on, because I am going to go ahead and do the valve adjustment. But you guys will see, there's the old computer, and you can see how like stuffed in there the computer is. So I gotta pull everything off, I don't think I have to pull the injection lines, but I at least have to pull this guy here. So once we pull that, I can throw that and then start doing the wire harness. I'm not even gonna unplug that. I'm literally just gonna take the ECU and the harness and just move it over. Same thing with these transmission lines. Might end up just well, actually that kind of looks like shit. Yeah, we'll just unscrew it. I was gonna take that one, but it looks like this one here is in not great condition, but better condition than the other one. Just trying to mix and match both these motors and take what makes sense. So tomorrow when I come in, I'm going to start tearing this motor apart to throw the parts on that one. Now, I did clean up the the whole plenum here. It's not perfect. I just used a wire brush, and like cleaned up all of that just to kind of get rid of that stupid textured. I mean, this one's cleaner, but the other one was like brown and goldish and just ugly looking. So I'm gonna throw some recommendations at him. We're also gonna replace this guy here with the one that's over there, because coming out of the parts truck, I cut that. I couldn't get that off. So it is what it is. Nice new tappet back there. Yes, it would also be nice to take this whole motor and just go pressure wash it. We might do that when everything's back together. Just waiting on that, but I am cleaning stuff up as I can. So looks like we might be able to just throw the PCM on there, or throw the lines back on without the PCM, but that's the main thing. I wanted to get as much as I could get done with this thing today, and then obviously tearing the front main seal kind of throws everything off. But big plans, like I said, we'll go clean this thing up. Probably gonna take the old alternator as well. I know he already took that off of that one. So the alternator is actually back here in the bed. And here's what happened to the radiator. You can see that radiator was not radiating anything, but we're gonna take this alternator because this one's still good and whatnot. So a bunch of the parts are back here. Tail lights, stuff of that nature. And then we should start throwing this thing in. I'm thinking by Wednesday we're gonna start throwing it in. This isn't the only project that I have going on. Unfortunately, I'm trying to keep the videos as like organized as possible. So like all the little stuff that I do that is like outside of everything, I'm trying just to keep this new style of video, everything organized. Everything is about one specific thing. This video is about this truck and this motor. So I'm gonna post part 1 If it gets enough views and whatnot, we will post a part 2 if you guys are interested. So part 2 is pretty much going to be tearing down that motor and hopefully getting this back together, but I doubt we can get that front main in time. I did also go through, and you can see dot goes between those 2 dots, and then the double dot goes between there. So everything's good. We'll find out if everything's okay when we do the adjustment, make sure I got it right, because I definitely didn't check it, but probably should have. But yeah, I'm pretty sure everything's correct. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you didn't, I mean, fuck off, because this is a lot of work and I'm doing what I can.